What's going on, everybody? Hope all is well. Jeff Fisher at Ride the Wave Foundation. This is a little bit different, but once in a while, you're going to see something new. It's going to come directly from me, and it'll be foundation updates essentially. So I figured it would be a good opportunity for me to forward face you guys. I'm the executive director at Ride the Wave Foundation and the founder as well. I plan on just briefly talking about the formation and then having a conversation of what we've done and what we're looking to do as well. Javon's not going to be on these. Shout out to him. Really appreciate all his efforts and everything that he brings to the table. Since Javon has come on board, it's definitely been an increase in collaboration, various things we're doing in marketing. Would we like to be further along? Most definitely. And for anyone who doesn't know, I grew up in Parsippany, New Jersey. I had a really good life. I rode my bike in town. It was safe. If anything, for me, right out of school, I wasn't as focused. I was more focused on partying with friends and things like that. So I was a little unfocused, didn't go right to school. I had various retail jobs and I experimented with drugs and partied and things like that. Luckily, by the grace of God, did not get addicted to anything. A lot of my childhood was more self. I was selling cell phones, working for Singular Wireless, and a gentleman by the name of Steve Klein came in. He purchased a BlackBerry for me. And at that time, he took a liking to me. He was a good guy, owned a staffing agency in, I think it was Wayne, New Jersey. And I went over, developed a relationship with him, his son, Jason. They really were very helpful. I went on a wide variety of interviews, didn't know what I wanted to do. Long story short, kept at it, polished myself up each time, each fail. VitaQuest International was my first corporate type position. I was sales support for Mark Stanisi. Shout out to Mark Stanisi at VitaQuest International. Really great guy. Learned a lot as far as organization. That was my entry point into this is what I want to do. I want to get into corporate sales. So I have a project management degree. And basically, this is my journey. How it started was about 3 years ago. I was baptized, received the Holy Spirit, and ever since I've been getting after it. So I had unlikely friendships after in Morristown, New Jersey. I go to Infinity Fitness. At the time, it was NBD training. And as I was leaving, there was a young man. His name was Lorenzo. And Lorenzo was really vibrant. He fueled me with energy. He was selling splash paintings. He was a really good young guy, didn't have much. I decided to purchase a painting from him based on who I thought he was, his story, his vibe, his energy. He really appreciated it. I established a bit of a relationship there. Through him, met Mark Robinson. He was previously our co-host and he was working directly with me. I love Mark. Shout out to him. He's a great guy. We decided to part ways for business purposes. And the catalyst, though, was me walking across the street from where my mom lives. There's a convenience store. As I was walking across the street, I see a van beat up. It's been there for a few days. Now, this is where I grew up riding my bike as a kid. As I go back to my mom's house, I feel a wave. God calling me to turn back and to check on the person, see if he's okay. Every year, if you guys go to John Gordon, JON Gordon.com, I do a one word through John Gordon's book, one word. That year, 2023 was encouraged. So what that means is I take it into every conversation. I try to implement where I can. That's my one word that I'm focusing on at a high level for self-development and improvement. I really fueled, his name was Daryl, with encouragement. I checked on him, pushed through the fear. I encouraged Daryl so much. There was such an energy to it. And we felt like we broke a barrier. I even went to the side of my mom's place after and I cried. I got emotional. It was that much. And it hit hard, the spirit. And I knew there was something to it. And what's missing is us wearing the shoes and checking up on others. And at that time, the vision was for training. I had set up Entree Leadership Training. It's a conference in Nashville, Tennessee. I didn't see Daryl a couple months. I see him. He looks vibrant. He looks good. He's with a friend. We, a week later, ended up going into a conference room, and I recorded through Spotify audio straight up the first podcast, just him and I in the library, it's me and Daryl, because we had to get the word out. We had to let people know what this was. And I knew in the beginning it was going to form. Not everybody had seen it, not everybody knew, but we were really pushing for the grand vision. So I'm glad I get to say that our grand commitment at Ride the Wave Foundation is to build an all inclusive, modern university style campus for people experiencing homelessness. So, how are we going to get there, guys? The very first thing is trust within the homeless community has been broken. So, we have to build trust, prove ourselves who we are. The very first way we do that is we discovered a large gap in people getting resources. So, because of lack of transportation, somebody may need to get to a resource. They maybe need to go to the DMV, fill in an application somewhere. They may have to physically go to Social Security for an appointment. But if they don't get there, that affects their resources negatively. It could cause more time on the street for people. So we recognize the gap. We're creating Wave Transportation, which will be a free taxi service to bring people to and from pre-qualified to certain appointments to fill in that transportation gap they may miss out on. We need your help, guys. We need a donation of either a van or passenger SUV or donations for up to 15K. And it really would go a long way. We were hoping to have Wave Transportation up prior to winter. Unfortunately, the way it's been going, us working on our projects, we weren't able to get there. But I want you guys to know that we're dedicated and we're trying to seek a donation or the van for the project. So that will help because look, guys, if you're tired and if you're hungry, you're not in a hustler mentality. Maybe you're not even on your mental health medications. Sleeping on the ground, you're back. You're not going to want to pick up the phone. There is a wide variety of resources out there, but I can't say I blame people for not wanting to get after. And when you feel like nobody cares and you're getting the rigmarole and not certain, you're told one thing, but you're not getting it, it's very difficult for people, and I've noticed, to navigate within the system. So Wave Transportation is to help out. We created Wave Outreach. Wave Outreach, we've supplied well over 100 sleeping bags to the community, along with hygienic kits, some hats, gloves, hand warmers, especially as we approach the winter. So we've developed more relationships. Shout out to Robert. Shout out to Heather and anybody else in the community that has been very helpful and a relationship manager for us, setting us up with the right people, connecting us. One thing that has happened within these last couple months is our network has grown within the community and we are developing positive relationships. I'm glad I get to say that. So shout out to anybody that's been helpful. But what we're trying to do is really find out what is needed, what are the exact needs within the community, and then deliver on that. So we do have plans for a couple upcoming outreaches, specifically within the Hispanic community, giving egg sandwiches in the morning, train station, little things like that. We have plans on implementing out into the community this year and continuing our outreaches to fill in any gaps of what's needed and also to build that trust within the community. Also, guys, we got to get the word out. So how are we going to do that? We want to make sure that Wavemaker principles and various stories that I've gone through or we've gone through to develop Ride the Wave come forth in our book series. So I wrote a book, Wavemaker. In the very near future, I'll be announcing a new launch of Wavemaker for Kids to plant the seed. Wavemaker is a repurposed story, that interaction I had with Daryl, plus principles to teach others how to approach others on the street they normally wouldn't. So, how to radiate positivity. Nerves are normal to push through them. Art of asking questions. It's so important we have an understanding of the right way to ask questions, to be able to open up various conversations, to learn for people's journeys, and to be able to put yourself in a position to negotiate or get whatever you want. Those type of skills are really needed. So through the Wavemaker book series, which we have plans for several other books in the community, forward facing, to set up and plant the seed for future Wavemaker training. So the books will get the stories out and the principles out. Plant the seed for Wavemaker training, which will forward face middle class to upper class individuals looking to utilize those skills to approach others and to be doing this because the path is to the person. That's our tagline. And we feel everything else around that is to distract us from our true purpose, which is connect to each other and learn from each other. And then there's no better way to learn. Also, to get the story out, Wavemaker Podcast, which was renamed recently from Ride the Wave, is a podcast where homeless people, people who have experienced homelessness, charities, people representing charities, or people striving to start one, or largely volunteering and contributing to their community. So anyone could come on the show. We could have those targeted conversations to get the word out. So build trust, get the word out, get to our grand commitment to build an all-inclusive university for people experiencing homelessness. And our entry segue into that is Project Dignity. So we have Wave Transportation, Wave Outreach, Project Dignity. Project Dignity is going to be a 10 to 15 modular home community where we're going to test out Wavemaker mentorship principles, which already have been proven to start to work within the community. We have a testimony. Wavemaker mentorship is a new style program where you're a mentor, you get a wave rider, we're calling them, or somebody who's homeless and who's pre-qualified, cognitive enough, and wants to get out of their situation, gets onboarded, their slate is wiped clean, they sign on to an ethical code moving forward, and the mentor works one-on-one. So it's a friendship. We develop a roadmap, try to get to the bottom of the person's purpose, step-by-step process. And in between, maybe we're waiting for paperwork or something like that, talk about, discuss, and teach the positive principles of Wavemaker. Also things like how to be a go-giver, mental health strategies from a business perspective, money management, the basics of budgeting, giving back. I noticed within the community that's something that is definitely useful. So the books, the podcast to get the word out. Project Dignity will be an opportunity to take a select group of people and test out Wavemaker principles to prove concept, to make sure they work. That's going to be a long-term modular community that'll eventually be taken over by another, whether it be our group internally or another foundation, and be repurposed for something else. While we're doing that, we'll also create the concept drawing and start the project to segue into the university. Some things we've done so far are several outreaches. We put feelers out for the van. We've done prospecting via email and cold calling for donors. We really could use the help, guys. We also have partnered with Vanessa. Shout out to Vanessa. We really appreciate her. We had some outreaches out in Patterson. We have some upcoming outreaches, like I had mentioned, the Hispanic community. I went in front of the town council to introduce ourselves and to open up collaboration. I also spoke to the county commissioners or the county clerk's offices at the town hall. I went there and spoke. I have several emails out to Sheriff Gannon's office, the Morris County Police, Community Engagement Office. Shout out to Lieutenant Oakley, who's been very forthcoming and working with us. Our wave riders or our mentorees have been doing well, progressing slowly. We've been going on a step-by-step roadmap there. We're launching, and I'm glad I get to say, the first episode of Wavemaker Leadership. So while I was getting to the bottom of the culture, I was seeking the culture of NCK Equipment, the company I own. It was named after Ray Marone, the founder's three daughters, Nicole, Christine, and Kathleen. And Ray radiated that positivity. He encapsulates all the values. But we have a business program that's going to be great as well that we're developing on the back end. The first episode of Wavemaker Leadership will be launched next week. They're going to be on separate channels, but they're also going to be brought up and they're going to be known through the Ride the Wave channels. But we suspect that business is going to be a very large part for profit for our organization. And we're going to shatter that glass ceiling, guys, bring down servant, conscious, and positive leadership. That's really essentially the goal, is to do something brand new. So guys, like I said, this is just a high level. There's a lot of moving parts. You may have noticed a bit of a slowdown on social media or with the show. Just so you know, anytime you see that behind the scenes, we're planning, we're working things out. If you ever have any suggestions or comments on things that we can do better, very open to hearing your feedback. Really appreciate you. On behalf of Javon and I, we love you guys. We're never going to stop this. Go to www.ridethewave.org. There's a donate button. Really appreciate your donations are going to go towards the wave transportation, guys. Things like sleeping bags that are going to help prevent people from freezing on the streets this winter. It's not going to go in vain to build the projects and the team and the marketing needed to see our projects through that'll lead to the campus. You guys, you take care and do not forget that the path is to the person. Thanks, guys. Take care.